The truth matters over everything else. It's one of those places where the warm logic and the cold logic kind of have a reaction. But the truth matters above all else. Basing your belief system on something that is not true leads to negative repercussions down the line. Getting tricked and not knowing it. When you encounter something that is incontrovertible, that goes completely against what you have been told is true, you are going to have a negative reaction. And it's not going to be the world that will react negatively. It will be you who is misled will react negatively. This is a thing that I have been warning about for about 15 years now on the various platforms that I have inhabited. My content is never distributed. No one sees it. So it didn't get out. But it has happened in the past. There are citable examples. The COINTELPRO that was used against Black Panthers. The demoralization propaganda that was used to get Lenin into power. And subsequently Stalin. The type of propaganda that was used to get Mao into power. Hordes of people who have been misled ended up in those circumstances having to be dealt with by the government because they would not stop trying to have a revolution. When they realized that what they had just revolted to get into power was not what they were sold. And that conflict, the lie that they had been sold, up against an incontrovertible truth, there was a negative reaction. Hundreds of millions of people died. Not to mention people that protested and legitimately fought back against the, formation of such a thing. But as far as anybody knows, at this point, there is no fix once a brain has been broken in that way. And I'm watching my YouTube algorithm. I'm watching people's behavior in the real world, personal encounters. And I just got done watching the first half of the opening monologue of Jimmy Kimmel tonight to see what he was going to say. And he got through this little segment that was really, honestly, given the rest of it, glazed over the salient points of the thing. It's very tender for a half second, got some tears out for a half second, and then immediately went on to bash one political party as the enemy. And then talking about how important it is that we not have an authoritarian country, that we must be free to say whatever. First Amendment, has during this time referred to Donald Trump as trying to use the government to shut him down, while simultaneously showing a clip of Trump only giving his opinion of Kimmel as a personality, as a talent, which is to say he says he has none. Only one side is doing that. Of that political divide, only one side is just lying about the other side. Only one side. Simultaneously, only one side has been committing egregious political violence. There is no movement. You notice the Proud Boys vanished? You notice you don't see Patriot Front out marching around trying to trick people into thinking that there's a thing going on that isn't? Because those dudes are feds. They went through with Doge, remember? They took a fine-tooth comb to everything. And a lot of that shit stopped. You notice? Truth matters over everything. Particular debate topics and points are irrelevant. They are distractions. They are fodder. Shiny things for you to get completely taken away by until you lose track of the goal. The goal is the truth. It all comes down to emotional manipulation for control. Every time the framing is meant to give you an immediate sense of something as you are comprehending what you are reading, you should not already have preloaded emotions while you are comprehending what you were reading. You should just be comprehending what you were reading. Without evidence, Trump says, I've had a number of people ask me how it is that I am so knowledgeable, so aware. Like literally, I've had people asking me this because a lot of folks are like, there's so much going on. I'm like, yeah, well, this is what I think it is. And, oh yeah, well, I think that too, or I don't know, or whatever. But how do you know all of this? Well, I pay attention. But my mode of paying attention is that I am filtering for bias. I am actively looking for logical fallacies in play to give a sense of who is deceiving and who is being honest. And if both parties are deceiving, are they deceiving together or are they both just deceiving in the same room? Anytime they frame it as something like that, you should look at citations or whatever. Turns out Harvard, formerly, as far as I can tell, considered in the general mainstream public to be a notable and reputable university, Ivy League, they say, that a couple of different universities did some meta-analyses of other studies, and apparently that's something to do with how they got it. Now, I haven't read the papers yet, so I'm not going to tell you what I think about it because I don't know. Step 3, know that you know nothing. Step 2, to thyself be true. 5 Steps playlist, if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's on my channel. There are a lot of things that get let go. People are told something that is untrue. And over the years, things come up. It could be that something like that happened that is leading to autism. The other thing is, it's also possible that in the course of trying to prove or disprove this, they may discover something else. And maybe that's the point. Maybe it's some 4D chess kind of shit where you're setting somebody up to, in the course of their discovery process or whatever, they would use this in legality as well to kind of get people to kind of have to take a look at something else and be like, well, it ain't Tylenol. It's clearly the thing that previously people said was probably what was causing it, but we were making fun of them. And you know what? Let it go. Let it go. The whole point is bringing people around to the truth. And it sucks if you have to deceive them. But the thing is that while it is ultimately true that good ideas don't need deception and propaganda to spread, if people have already been deceived and propagandized, you may have to use that to try and uncurl that back into something resembling a straight line so that they can follow it. And if that's not possible, then in the attempt to uncurl that, it will snap. And that's the thing I'm looking at kind of in the background. How much of that's going to happen? How many people is that going to affect? Are there people that are literally going to just, I don't know what their brains are going to do. I really don't. Is it going to be, shoplifter meltdown style tantrums? Is it going to be something more insidious, organized, or planned? Is it going to be shit yourself, stay in bed, quit your job, starve to death? New batch of homeless people. But they are that kind of mental illness of propagandized, demoralized, broken people, not just someone with a mental illness that fell through the cracks, which is oftentimes how that happens. But it will be effectively the same, that you have someone who, in the case of a lot of people that I've encountered that are homeless, the reason that they're out there is that there is a severe mental illness impairing their ability to get help, because you have to ask for help. You have to want help. And if they just lock you in a room, you're going to freak out because you're locked in a room and there's no mental health help can take place. Likewise, people who have been permanently demoralized by such things, propaganda and whatnot, if they find themselves in that same position, it's going to be the same thing. They're not going to be able to undo that. And it's really not their fault. But I think these people are a little more cognizant, a little more functional in ways that can be extremely dangerous. And I don't know what the solution is to that, nor can I even really talk any further about that part of the topic for personal safety reasons. I don't know what is and isn't allowed, what constitutes what these days. What I do know is that the closer we are to truth, the better we can do. Unless the truth is that we are all completely doomed, in which case it's a no-win. But I don't think that's where we're at. I don't see that in the future like that. I think that's all I got. This one's definitely going to get uploaded. This will be the first of many takes that I've given over the last couple of weeks that I've actually felt would warrant an upload. So I'm going to cut it short here before I ruin it. Today was clearly not the rapture. But I think what people are missing in talking about what they think is happening is on the fifth and sixth dimensional plane of dreams. Not everything translates directly or literally. So, for example, sex and combat are interchangeable to the subconscious. Little kids, oh, I saw mommy and daddy fighting last night in bed. In your dreams, these things become conflated. Likewise, certain concepts may be taken literally to describe it. So, a word like rapture, meaning to be taken up, could be along the same line as something like ascension, which is not the same as literally floating up into the sky to be with Jesus in the sky, which doesn't make sense. He's not in the sky like that as a person. It also does not mean necessarily exactly what the New Age definition of it is, where it's like, oh, you're becoming a higher dimensional, whatever. It's similar to revelation. It is enlightenment. It is not that you are to float, but that I'm trying to put this. The idea is you're raising your raising your power level, raising your spiritual key, as it were. And also, this takes place tandem with an awakening, that people come into their own, into their power. People who have become filled with the Spirit as vessels of the Spirit. This could be the same. So a point where many people simply take on a mantle could be something that would be transcribed into a convergent dream that a bunch of people witnessed of a thing that is likely to be on the horizon. Because the thing is that time works differently in this other way of looking at it. And you can, in fact, see ahead as well as behind in some instances. So people not fully understanding what it is that they're seeing and simply getting a good glimpse and describing it are not understanding it. And other people that don't really fully understand what was seen or how this whole thing translates might not interpret correctly. So it would be that people did, in fact, have some inkling of a thing coming, but other than a worldwide simulcast of trumpet blast that is going to take place here at some point, if it hasn't already at this moment. I don't know what the time difference is. We are in a period of time right now, the specific epoch of this, say, month right now, is a time of great awakening. There are so many people who are consciously choosing to seek the truth that the ripple on the higher dimensional planes of things was visible in the past by certain folk. Seems like what that might be coming to. Because what you see in a dream does not literally translate into what will happen. Metaphorically, yes. Literally, almost never, if ever. There's always a catch. So, I'm done with it here. This will be stabilized, shrunk, then uploaded. And stay frosty, guys. Keep that active critical thinking going. This is the most important time as any to be really keeping track of whether or not you're being lied to, whether or not someone is using trickery. And after not getting distracted by whatever the trickery is trying to get you into, figuring out why they are doing it. You may find that this is a spiritual battle that is now taking place between people who are waking up and servants of shutting it down,